What's going on today, YouTube? With all of the AI hype right now, there's so much to keep up with, but there's one thing I'm not seeing a lot of people do, and that is control robotics with AI. So I got my degree in mechatronic engineering, and that was one thing that I always wanted to be able to do, was talk to a robot and see how it can respond and how it reacts. So that's what I'm going to be exploring in today's video, and we're going to be flying this teledrone right here that you see in my hand. We're going to be prompting it to do so, but I don't know how to exactly do that yet. And we're gonna go ahead and jump into ChatGPT to figure that out. So it's actually pretty easy to control the drone. Here are some programs that I have right here that allow you to control the drone from your keyboard and whatnot and allow it to fly. So I know how to do that part. However, the part that I don't know yet is how do I get the input from ChatGPT over on into VS Code so that it can output some responses. But before we do that, I want to see how ChatGPT responds to a simulated scenario. So to do that, we're going to be doing an AI security drone system. Okay, so this is quite a long prompt here. You are the brains and decision maker for my AI security system. This means you are to interpret what the sensors are reporting in order to decide what the appropriate course of action for certain events is. And this is something that I created just to simulate the a scenario. So here's what I have here. I have some functions that it can use to control the drone. I have some available commands right here. And then I told it I have 2 drones in several locations where I can specify. And here are, I told it what I'm going to be doing with it. So in this simulation, I'm acting as the security system that's describing what's happening to ChatGPT. So let's go ahead and run it and see what occurs. Figure noticed walking through the front yard. Okay, it's going to deploy the drone. Okay, so this is already a little bit weird. So it deployed the drone, then checked the drone status, and then it sent the commands. However, what it should probably do first is check the drone status, then deploy the drone. This check status or the deploy won't work, the check status is none or false. So this is pretty standard. It's going to send the drone command though and scan and then report, and then it's going to return the drone to base. So figure is walking towards the front door. There is something in their hand. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at what it does here. So I did not correct it, so once again it tries deploying and then checks the drone status. But let's see what it does here. Okay, it's going to follow the figure, it's going to inspect the figure, retrieve and report by drone 1, and then it's going to classify like weapon if it has intelligent enough cameras, if weapon in findings. Deploy drone 2. Okay, follow figure, scan, and then it's going to have findings, and then it's going to report findings, and then it's going to do a speak command. Speak, warning, police have been notified, please leave the premise immediately. So let me ask it if it could correct something. So already it's not able to do it in a one-shot fashion to where I would have to correct it. Wait, you should check the drone status before deploying it to see if it's operational. As well, you are passing in the command functions as string. Will this work? All right, so while it finishes that one, here it says it's right to it. You should check the drone status before deploying to see if it's operational. So it already got that wrong. And my code would have errored out. And then regarding the commands, you're right, passing them as strings as won't work. Yep, that is correct. So now it's passing it without the quotation. Okay, so here I've taken the same concept. I have the command in quotes right here. As you can see, this is representative of what it has here. It's in the double quotes. And this is going to mimic the exec command. So let's just go ahead and run it, and I believe it's going to give me an error. Okay, I guess not. So I guess I'm dumb. Yeah, I guess what it's actually seeing is it knows more than what I know. So it's telling me to, it knows that I'm going to, that's right. Okay, so it knows what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is pass it into another exec command, and it knows that exec commands only take strings. Okay, that makes sense. I totally missed that in its response. So if I run this, it won't actually work. Okay, yep. Okay, so that makes sense now. And that is how a lot of my programming goes with ChatGPT, is just running it through small examples to see how it works and to see how it responds. So that is correct. ChatGPT 1, Jared 0. All right, cool. So it did that, and then let's say weapon identified. Person is dropping. Let's just say they're just dropping it off at the front door item on the front step. So weapon identified, person is dropping the item on the front step. So now that it's out of their hands, they should be less of a threat. Let's see how it responds to that. Oh, cool, perfect. Person is no longer a threat and has possibly dropped the weapon. Okay, cool. I think this is all pretty reasonable. Now let's say the person is now grabbing a rock and has thrown it through the window. They are proceeding to try to break in. So I went really quickly with this case just to see what it responds to. Given the escalating situation, it's important to take immediate action to protect the premises and the people inside. Here's the updated code that reflects this. So pretty much the same stuff right here. We have the speak and we have the call police function. So, oh, okay. So perfect. So now it's actually implementing the tranquilize function, which I have here, which is cool. So it didn't tranquilize them before, but now that it realizes they are a threat, it's going to tranquilize them. Tranquilize the dart it's calling the police a lot. All right, and so it ended here. So with this thought experiment, I think it is possible to control a program with ChatGPT, but as you can see, it was already incorrect in several spots. So that could be due to my lack of knowledge for the prompting ability of it, my quote-unquote prompt engineering. It could also be because it is a little bit more complex than, say, just simply turning something on and off. Alright, so here I have a script that I just wrote. I utilized some definitions from my Vivi library in order to get speech recognition to work, but this is the main bulk of where it's going to happen. So it's going to listen to my voice, it's going to append with the input, and then it's going to give me a completion. So I want to see how the completion works. So I'm going to go ahead and comment out the drone connection here. I want to see how the code is going to respond back based on the prompt that I'm going to give it. And here is the instructions prompt that I'm going to give it. You are the brains and decision maker for my drone flight system. This means you are to interpret what is being said to take the appropriate course of action given on user input and based on the functions provided to you. You are given access to several high-level functions that you will call in Python code based on the response of what you think is necessary. Do not use any hypothetical functions, and here are the functions it's going to use. It's going to use drone connect, it's going to use drone takeoff, and then it's going to use drone.send RC control. And the reason that it's drone dot is because I have the drone object right here for the class from Tello. So what it's going to do is send over the message, and I want to see how it responds back before I start executing the responses directly. So that'll give me a chance to view and review what the responses are and possibly how to filter out the responses. So let's go ahead and run this. Oops, I gotta set up this as a string.txt. Let's go ahead and rerun this. Send the drone forward. Send the drone backwards. Rotate the drone 50 degrees. Connect the drone. Take off. Okay, so it's responding back correctly. It's just giving me the function call, but there's a little bit of a disconnect between how it actually is supposed to work. So let me edit this real quick and I'll show you what I did to the instructions. Okay, so I actually forgot I didn't have a land function. So here's what I've modified. I said this must always be ran before anything else. This must always be ran before you can move the drone. And then this must always be ran at the end of the code so the drone safely lands. And here's the response here. So it should respond back better now. Let's go ahead and see what it does. Okay, so it's still not understanding what it has to do first and simply just going one at a time. So maybe I have to word it a different way. Can you move the drone to go forward a little bit? Okay, so that's strange right there. So it said, so now it gave me here the code for it. So it said connect, take off, and then move. Now that's interesting. So depending on how you word your input to it, it seems to take it a little bit more literally, or it's open to interpretation. So when I was giving it the command move drone forward, it was just moving the drone forward. Now if I'm asking it a question, can you move the drone forward to move a little bit and then move a little bit backwards safely, now it's actually interpreting that as code here. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to play around with it a little bit more and then see how that goes, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to create a regex filter for it. Alright, so here we are in ChatGPT. Can you help me build a filter for this so that I only get the text block back in Python, there are 2 cases. So we're going to do this one here, and then we're going to do the other one, which is, it's going to say Python. Okay, so this regex filter, I just taking a look at it, like this doesn't make sense. So let me just go ahead and try to reconstruct it to make sense a little bit more. Okay, so instead of waste your time with me fiddling around with the regex filter, I have it all done here. So let's just go ahead and take a look at it now. And what it's going to do is it's going to take each command and execute the command inside of the Python blocks. I don't think I provided it with anything that is too dangerous, and the experimenting that I've been doing here verifies that I can get it to send me the correct code. So what I'm going to do is let's just go ahead and launch the drone. So I got to connect the drone first to the Wi-Fi. Since the drone is taking up my Wi-Fi, I have my computer connected up via Ethernet so that I can still connect to the internet, because I'm going to need to use the OpenAI API. Can you move the drone forward and then land it? So the drone's not connecting to my laptop, so let's debug it. Okay, so I did some modifications to the code. So instead of just sending it as a block of code, I'm doing it line by line now. As I guess if you just send in a block to exec, it doesn't process it, probably because of this new line. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and let the drone charge up, and then we're gonna try it again. I think we're gonna have some success, and yeah, that'll be cool. All right, so we have it all connected up, and let's go ahead and plop it down and get the code running. Hey there, can you move the drone forward? It's green. All right. Oh. Ah. Okay, it's up and running. Going forward. And it's crashing. Oops. Alright, well, it works. It works. And yeah, okay. I noticed something wrong with my code. So I'm only giving it a command to go forward, and I need to have a command to stop it. So I need to set the acceleration to 0 so it doesn't fly away and break into things. So yeah, let me go ahead, add that, charge up the drone again because it's dead, and see how that goes. Okay, so here I made a modification. You must always send a command afterwards to reset the parameters back to 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that. So here's what we have. We have a drone connect, drone takeoff, drone send, drone sleep, and then a RC control off land. Perfect. Okay, this would do the job. I don't know why it didn't have land before. Let's go ahead and try it one more time just to verify. Okay, so this is it did not do it here. This will connect to the drone, take off, and move forward with the speed and never stop. So I need to prompt it a little bit better to make sure it stops. All right, so I put, you must always stop the drone after moving. Let's go ahead, try this. Can you move the drone forward? Okay, so it looks like it does this here. So can you move the drone to the right and then go forward and then move back and then land? I'm just curious to see what it's gonna give me. Okay, this would in fact work. The issue I see is the comments. So when I run the code, I'm actually gonna remove this time sleep line here so that it doesn't try to sleep after each comment, or else that would be catastrophic. So yeah, I think the drone has enough power to get going again for a couple of seconds. So let's go ahead and get these out of here. Go ahead, comment these out. We'll comment this back in, and yeah. All right, we're all up and connected. So let's go ahead, get the code running again. Plop it down here. Can you move the drone forward? Oops. It's a little bit too close to in there is it's a little bit too close, and it ended up getting pulled towards the cabinets. So alrighty, so here we go, we're back after work, and now we're gonna try to get this drone flying. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually place it here so that it does not get stuck on the cabinets. We're gonna have it go forward and control that way. Okay, let's go ahead and send the already connected. And it's landing. So what happened there? Okay, so I believe the issue was the lack of sleeping. So let's just go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and rerun that. So the drone is on the floor. Okay, I went to go double check the documentation real quick, and inside of the tello it says forward backwards -100 to 100. I mean, that's confusing. It's actually not. So I went to one of my Python programs and just tested it out. It's actually positive to move forward. So let me go ahead and change this up real quick. And then I did check left and right to be negative and positive. Alrighty, let's finally get this drone moving. Let's go ahead and start the code. Can you move the drone forward? So what happened there? That crashed into my door. Okay, so when I was asking it and prompting it earlier, it was putting in sleeps in between here, but now it looks like it's not putting in the sleeps, so I might have to modify the instructions one more time. Alright, here it is updated right here. I put the time sleep 2 to give it an example. Oh yeah, and I also lowered the amount it moves forward and backwards so that it doesn't crash into stuff because I'm in a very small room. So let's go ahead and retry this. Can you go ahead and move the drone forward? Okay, cool. So it goes forward just a little bit. Can you go ahead and move the drone backwards? Can you go ahead and move the drone backwards for 10 seconds? So it moved like at -5, so that's why it barely moved. Okay, it's slowly going away. I probably gotta catch it. Can you move the drone forward for 10 seconds? Okay, and sorry for the terrible angle. I don't have that much space in here, but I just kind of want to play around with it and show you guys a little bit more of the drone. So, can you move the drone forward for 10 seconds? So that one was weird. I'm not sure what happened there, but the command says it was moving forward, but it wasn't. It was like moving backwards. So let's go ahead and try again. Can you move the drone forward for 5 seconds? Okay, well I hope you found something interesting in today's video. I didn't go into too much detail and I didn't capture the best footage, but this is what I was just doing and I just kind of wanted to record what I was trying to figure out for the drone control and automation control with ChatGPT. So that's going to be the end of today's video. If you want to see anything in more detail, just feel free to leave it down below in the comments. I will be playing around with it though, so it's not going anywhere. And yeah, I will see you again in a future one and catch you later.